Hello and welcome to Interactive Notebooks through Google Classroom. My name is Mr. Lira and I am an 8th grade teacher at Woodland Acres Middle School in Galena Park. What I wanted to show you was how to use these in Google Classroom and to make your Google Classroom pretty much a interactive notebook in and of itself. So the first thing I wanted to show you was in the classroom, what you want to do is create at least 2 classrooms to use as a guide. You're not adding any students, you're not adding any co-teachers, no one. This is specifically just for you. And in those 2 classrooms, you can do 2 things. Set up one where it's just your class technology materials. So any self-help guides, any self-help videos, anything that you want to teach the students, this is where you're going to want to put it in the beginning. So that way you can save it all. And then when your students ask the questions in the future of, I don't know how to do this, or at 2 a.m. when they're asking the craziest questions, and hopefully you are not awake at the time trying to answer them, then the next following workday, you can give that information to them. The other one is where your curriculum is going to go. And that one is right here with the class to use for next year. That is what I titled mine. So I'm going to show you mine real quick and how it works with topics and what you can do for your Google Classroom. So this is the front of my classroom. It's right here and it just says class to use for next year. When I go into classwork, right here with this create button, which a lot of us has already seen and we've already used them, but when you click on it, there's this magical button right here at the bottom called topic. When you click on that topic right there, you can add a topic for your classroom. So any units, any lessons that you're about to teach. So for me, I'm coming from a 8th grade history point of view. The first lesson I'm always teaching is exploration and colonization. So I would type that in as exploration and colonization. That's the unit that I'm going to be covering with everything about that right there. Once I click add, it creates a topic. Now the difference is that if you've noticed on my topics, I've got like these little emoji stickers right here. And that's something I would highly suggest putting on there. If you do, what you can do is go to this place right here. It's emojipedia.org. If you do that and you add the emojis into your classes, then a lot of your kids, you can just tell them, hey, I want you to go to the world class or find the emoji that looks like a world. And once they see that, they're like, oh, there it is with the 3 flags. Oh, yeah, now I know where you are. And then they can click on this and you can tell them, I want you to go here, or I want you to go to the Age of Exploration packet. And then from there, you can explain to them where they're trying to go and it helps them find it. The other thing you can do is once you get all that created is you can actually just go right here and you can click on them because they all show up here in the all topics. So if any of your kids ask those questions about, I have no clue where we are, I'm lost, then you could use that as your guide. And so the all topics portion right here, once they click on this, so if they click, let's say European exploration, or you know what, we'll go to a farther down one so that way you can understand what I'm talking about. They can go straight to origins of self-government and there it is. Then they can go inside, they can click on it, and they're done. And then once they finish, if let's say you want them to go to a different unit to look at something, you tell them to click the all topics and they go right back to the beginning, or they can just scroll down all the way. It's basically your decision, whatever you want to do, but teach that to your kids because more than likely, they probably don't know because they've never seen that before, and they don't play around with this as much as you do. Now, when you are in here, I'm a lazy teacher. I'm not going to deny that. I don't want to sit here and spend hours of work every single night having to create something totally different just so my students later can just moan and groan how they have to do the work and all this kind of stuff. So I've kind of been working a little bit already on it and doing some things. So what you can do in here is once you've created your lessons, your topics, all these kinds of things, then you can do this. You can just go to the create button and instead you click this button right here where it says reuse post. When you reuse a post, then what's going to happen is all your classes right here, all the stuff that you've been working on is going to come into play. And then you can kind of see that. When you do that, you can click on whatever you want to post on. So let's just try, we'll use this right here. We'll use the Age of Exploration packet because that's the first thing that I'm going to use pretty much the first week of school. So I'm going to click reuse. And once I click on reusing, it's pulling it up, it's asking me what I want to do. So in this portion right here, you've got Age of Exploration packet. You can give your students instructions on what you wish to do, how you wish to do this, and how they wish to complete it, things like that. Right over here, if you've noticed, your topic is already pre-populated in based on your class, because you had your classwork for next year, you already put that in there. So it's already there. Now, the only thing that you need to do is click on which classes that you want. This is where you want to click on first period, second period, whichever periods that you feel that these classes need to be in. And then once you're done, you can click out. Now, the other thing is, and this is where sometimes we always forget this, and it's one of those evil little things that even I forget it as well, is right here on the drop down. You want to make a copy for each student. You don't want them to view it and you don't want them to edit it. If they view it, they can't do anything. If they edit it, then they're going to edit your hard copy. You want them to make a copy for each of themselves to do, so that way they can go from there. And then once you're done, you click assign and you're good. And then all of this comes out, it goes in the topic that you created. And the topics, if they're not there in the other classes, like your period 1, period 2, period 4, all the classes there, it's going to automatically do it for you. So it'll automatically make the topic and it'll automatically put the assignment in at the same time. So it's kind of a lazy way of saying, I'm getting this over with and I'm done. Now, the other thing that you want to do is you want to sit there and break up your interactive notebooks. What do I mean by that? That means this. I have a packet for European exploration. So in that sense, I've got one for the European exploration. I'm going to have one for Jamestown. I'll have one for the English colonies. So kind of like if I had a interactive notebook, it would be dividing them up in sections. The main problem is this. A lot of people, when they hear interactive online notebooks or interactive online slides, they think of this right here, where you have all your slides for the whole thing right here, everything to go, and they've got to work on everything right then and there. The problem with this is that it jumbles everything together. And when it does, it doesn't section it out and organize it where the students can really understand what you're trying to get them to do. So they're going to get lost in your class, as even if they're at home, they're going to get lost and they're going to give up quick. Break it up into topics, which could be sections. And in there, you can put in your packet of what you want them to do. Now, some of the packets, a lot of people have 2 different types of notebooks that they like to do. This is one digital interactive notebook I use. Another one is this one right here. You can use your slides and you can use docs. It's really what you want to do and how you want to do it. Me, preferably, I personally like this one. And the reason why I like slides is because everything is very interactive and I can change things the way I want. Now, how is this going to look on the student's end? Well, when it goes on their end, so we'll kind of scroll down a little bit right here. When we do that, it's going to look like this. They're going to see different folders in their classroom. So they're going to see classroom, and then right here, they're going to see, Mr. Lyra's history class, and then they're going to see science with Miss Pinksterhouse. They'll see math with Mr. Garza. So they're going to see all their different classes in here. And you can tell them, click on my class. And then once you click on my class, here's what I want you to do next, is create your folders inside of those. So then you can say, all right, because it's not going to do that with your topics. So you have them create it. You tell them, once we have this, now I want you to go into your Google Drive and create a folder that says exploration and colonization. That way they can make it a point in the beginning, and you have to do this at the very beginning, to move all their stuff into that. The reason why is because if you start telling them in October or November, then it's all new. They're going to freak out and go crazy. So those first couple of days of school, you want to teach this to them ASAP and you want to be consistent. The more you do that, probably by about November, it's a no-brainer. They're going to do it. They're not even going to think about it. And you can constantly remind them, because trust me, they're going to find a way to forget or say it. So, make a reminder, set one for yourself to remind them to do that periodically. So that way they can understand that you have folders for each unit that you're covering. And that way there's no problems with that. The next thing I want to show you is this right here, the stream. Where do you find the stream? The stream is right up in the front right here where it says stream. When you look, there's a place called upcoming. This is where you want to teach your kids that when you post something, this means that the due date is going to show right here. They have a due date. they should know when things are due. So there's no way that they're going to say, I didn't know when the date was due. It's right here. You just have to show them. Many times they forget, they pretend to forget, they don't know, and some of them truly don't. But if you show them this right here, then there's really no excuse. Another place that you can show them where your work is due in your classwork, and this is something that we all forget, is right up here. Every single classroom has its own Google Calendar and its own class drive folder. So if they're like, I can't find my folder in my Google Drive, I'm so lost, tell them to go into their classwork, click on class drive folder, and then from there you can direct them to, all right, now I want you to make a folder and tell them for European exploration. Now I want you to make a folder for this one, and so on and so forth. So there's no excuse because here's the two things right here. This tells them when it's due, and this tells them where it is. And in the future, since we're going virtual on some cases, this also tells them where we can start talking to each other online, because there's the Google Meets part. So that way they can just say, oh, there it is for my class. That's where I need to click it. So there's really no excuse for them to not know how to do this. But for you, what I really highly suggest is when you make these topics, really think about what your intentions are with them. The way I did them, and I'll show you, I'll just scroll down on my test class right here, is I did them based on the main units that I cover. And in so doing, it really helps so that way I can tell them, this is where I want you to go. And with my emojis, if you've noticed, they're all different, the very first ones. And the reason for them being different on the very first ones is so that way they can see, oh, each one is different, then you can't give me an excuse to say, well, that one looks the same as the other one. No, that's not true. The only place that would be my warm-ups, and that's it. So everything is in here. There's really no excuse for them to kind of jumble around or go anywhere. But for you on creating your notebooks, when you're setting them up with intention, then this kind of creates it a little bit more organized. And that way, once they're done and the class is over, let's say it's now May and it's the end of the year and they're ready to go, then this is what they have to go with them. So if you've been helping them and keeping them, making sure that everything was organized, their class drive at the end, even after you archive it, that's still going to stay there. And this is all going to stay the way that you had it organized for them. So just be consistent, be precise, and let them know what you want. And here's a good hint as well. Make sure that Google Slides is probably going to be your go-to for units. It'll probably be a lot easier for you because then when you do this, it's easier to pull up, it's easier to do things. There's a lot of things where you can fit them in. This would be day one, day two, and also just for you, not for the students. What you might want to do too is in your own Google Drive, everything that you put that's virtual that you have, you might want to put that like this so that way you can see, okay, what do I want to do on these certain days? Where do I want to go? How do I want to do this? So I'll kind of show you mine. I've got it here where I've got exploration, then I've got colonies. I kind of mix these two up, so I need to fix that. But I've got all of my sections right here that are for my Google Classroom organized. So that way in the future, I know where to go and what to do. And that way that can help you too. So that way you don't have it where, oh, those are my hard copies. Those weren't my digital copies. Because that's where things sometimes do get confusing between this is my Google stuff to use on my Google Classroom that is this, where it's Google Slides or it's Google Docs. And it's not a PDF where I have to convert it or it was a paper that I scanned. No, these are things that I created. So you want to make a space in your drive for that. So that's pretty much what a Google Interactive Notebook is. It does take some time setting it up. It does take some time to do it. And once you get that done, then everything is great. So again, this is the website. It's inotebooks.history52.com, where you can get this right here, all of these slides to kind of help guide you and do what you need to do to get yours set up. But I also did something in the end. And at the very bottom of this resource, I also gave a lot of other resources that you can click on and go to. So that way you can bookmark them for yourself and use them, like emojipedia.org. best place in the world. This one right here, free Google templates. Take the advantage on this. This is the best. One of my mentors who I really like and I wish we could get them and try to use them is my Simple K-12. They are just awesome. They have the best resources as well as teaching from home and the 70 plus apps. All of these are great resources that you can use to teach in your class. So good luck. Have a great year, and I hope this helps, and I hope that you run away with it and do what you need to do. Enjoy.